Mary Thomas, CEO of the Faith and Freedom Coalition. Such a pleasure and honor to have you here at the Epoch Times Espanol booth here at the Road to Majority. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. So happy to be here.
Yes, Mary, tell us what's the importance of Hispanics nowadays in the political arena?
The Hispanic vote is really the deciding factor in almost every election that we have. And, I feel like many of the parties, certainly the conservative side, has not gone out into the Hispanic community and actually done outreach and spoken with them. And that is one of the major things that we're focused on at Faith and Freedom. We know the Hispanic community, they are our people. They believe in faith, family, hard work, entrepreneurship, really the American dream. And if we go to the communities, if we speak to them, listen to their issues, then really, and tell the truth, right? They see that we are a lot, like them. We are fighting for the same exact values. And so I think the Hispanic community has made, wonderful additions to this country. They're wonderful people. And so we're so glad to be doing this outreach that I think is very, very much needed.
Can you tell us a little bit more about how are you planning to get to them, how you get to talk to them, what do you say to them?
Yeah, so we are just going to the community. So, sometimes we go to the bodegas. A lot of times we go to the churches. We partnered with a group that represents 42,000 Hispanic evangelical Christian pastors. And we are working with the pastors and talking to them about, talking to their congregations about the importance of Christians voting and getting out to vote for biblical values. It's really not about party. It's not about Republican or Democrat. It's just about voting for the values that we all believe in. And, they're biblical values, but they're also, freedom, religious freedom, personal freedom, the ability to build a business, to succeed, to live the American dream. I mean, all of those fundamental American values, that's what we're speaking to people about.
And Mary, what do the Hispanics tell you when they hear you say this is about biblical values that we share?
Yeah, I mean, they're so excited. I mean, for example, we went to Wisconsin and met with several pastors out there. You wouldn't think Wisconsin has a ton of Hispanics, but they do. Yeah. They have a very good population of Hispanics. And the pastors were just so happy because we're providing them resources that they can easily, give to their membership, to give them information on the different issues of importance, whether it's the economy, religious freedom, if it's on parental rights, school choice. We're giving them easy to use resources, both in English and Spanish, to just, give them the ability to communicate. We know these pastors, business owners, they're very, very busy, right? They have a lot of things to do. So we want to make it easy for them to kind of relay the message and to spread the truth, really.
Is this through a flyer, through a website?
Yeah, so we have flyers. We have a website that we were using last election cycle. It's called votamosvalores.com.
Votamosvalores.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And it's English and Spanish. And basically that website, people could go and they could register to vote. They could request mail ballots. They could see our voter guides, all kinds of things. And then we would hand out hard copies of our voter guides and have them in the entrances of churches as well.
So what do you think is the reason why the Hispanics maybe in other years were not as actively participant in the election time?
Well, one of the things is I think, the Hispanic community has been neglected by both parties. The Democrats, they thought that they had Hispanics and their support, but they really didn't. And we, with Faith and Freedom, went out and we actually knocked on the doors in the Hispanic communities. We spoke to people. And when they realized the truth that a lot of their values align with, the values of conservatives, and they saw how bad the economy was. People were suffering. They can't even afford groceries. They would have to have multiple jobs just to be able to feed their families. I mean, that's not the way this country should be when you're working hard. So they felt they needed a change, right? And so that's why I feel like they really supported Donald Trump.
Do you think there was some sort of misinformation about voting day or the voting policies that they might not believe that I'll try to rephrase this. Like, do you think there was misinformation about anything regarding election day that they didn't think it I'm just trying I'm trying to reframe this question, because what I'm trying to ask is if there was any misinformation they thought it happened during election day, that maybe they were mistaken or they didn't thought it happened.
No, I don't think that's what it was. I mean, I think it's just, so many people are so busy, right? And you're working just to feed your families, get things go, just to take care of everything, go to work, go to church. There's so many things to do. And oftentimes, sometimes people think your vote doesn't even matter, right? Yeah. But in these days, elections are decided by a couple hundred votes. So every single vote does matter. And if we don't vote, we see what's going on, in the schools, a lot of indoctrination. Boys, are saying they're girls. That's not in line with biblical values. That's not in line with most the values of the Hispanic community, really. And so they saw all of these things and the economy, all of these problems. And I think they saw that, the way that we can change that is by actually getting out and exercising, our power to vote. And so that's what.
Yeah, right. And is there any city or state in particular that you find it surprising? Like, let's say Wisconsin, which you didn't, no one will really think there will be a Hispanic population there. But is there any other place where you also find something like really particular?
No, I think basically in every state there's a Hispanic population. It's continuing to grow, right? We were talking about that the Hispanic population is growing at 9 times the rate of the non-Hispanic population. So I think it's very much critical for conservatives to reach out to the Hispanic community and, really listen to their concerns and help them and take care of their needs, just like we, do with any other voter. But, again, I think we have not been doing that enough. And that's why I'm so excited about the work that Faith to Freedom is doing, because we're actually going on the ground to the communities, going to the churches, speaking in Spanish. It's just really, we care about the community. They're part of the fabric of America, and we just need to do more outreach.
Right. And has the coalition talked to the Trump administration? What do you think Trump is thinking right now about the Hispanic vote? What is he saying? Does he have any message for the Hispanic community?
Yeah, I think President Trump is 100% supportive of the Hispanic community. And I think that the values that President Trump holds of, protecting freedom, protecting faith, letting the economy grow, letting people start small businesses, getting the government out of the way. Those are the values of the Hispanic community. And he loves the Hispanic community. He goes out, like we do too, goes out to the community and speaks to them. And, I've seen him in action behind stage, and he is, despite what, people can say out there, he's actually a very, very kind person, and he respects everyone, no matter who they are, what they look like, whatever their race is. He's, he cares about all Americans, right? So he wants to fight and do what's right for our country, for all Americans, which includes absolutely the Hispanic community.
Yeah. What do you envision for 2026 for the midterm elections? How do you see the representation of Latino officials or congressmen, congresswomen, people going into the public life?
Well, I think we're seeing that more and more, right? We're seeing more Hispanics run for office, which is wonderful. I think we need more people, right? More women, right? There's still very few women that are in Congress compared to men. But we need people who will also, not just because of their skin color, long hair, whatever, their sex, we have to make sure that the people that we're electing are those who will support the same values that we have, right? So I think it's wonderful that more and more Hispanics are running for office and getting elected, and certainly with would love to see more of that.
Marianne, do you have any last message for the Hispanic? Can you invite them to visit the website, go to Faith and Freedom Coalition to have more information about the next elections?
Yes, absolutely. We'd love for you to visit our website and go to Faith and Freedom Coalition. If you just Google that, you'll be able to find our website. And please get in contact with us because we are traveling nationwide, meeting with Hispanic communities, Hispanic community leaders. We want to get the word out. We care about the community. Our values are your values. And so, we encourage you to reach out to us because we would love to meet you.
Mary, thank you so much for your time, and I hope this is not the last time.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.